chief aide from the Nixon administration come out and say that the Nixon administration targeted African Americans and hippies during the quote-unquote war on drugs. And they utilized that as a prerequisite to do a lot of harm and a lot of damage to the black community mainly, because these were considered political adversaries. So that caused this pipeline to prison. And now courts are trying to correct it to some degree by having specialty courts, by having accountability courts. I want to know your judicial philosophy about specialty courts and accountability courts to stop mass incarceration and to create a stopgap between an individual who offends and recidivism. And I will start with Angie McMillan.
You know, there are a lot of facts and positions on mass incarceration. Here lately, under the Clinton administration, 1992, that comes to mind. But being a historian, having a master's in history, I recall writings of W.B. Du Bois. He cites in Souls of Black Folk, suppression of the West African slave trade, where mass incarceration began at the beginning of the 13th Amendment, starting in 1865, 1866. We see the building of jails, prisons, increasing during Reconstruction. Now, during Woodrow Wilson's presidency, we see it heightened again during what was called Jim Crowism. In 1992, there was a mistake made, which leads to Governor Nathan Deal's current Criminal Justice Reform Act, which I think has some problems, but for the most part is workable. Accountability, but we also need fairness. There is no way that half of people of color can be criminals. And that's my position on it.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Sterling Gibbs.
Thank you. So, as Angie mentioned, the governor has, through a series of legislations, created a reform in the criminal justice system, which puts a heavy emphasis on accountability courts. So you are clear on what that is. It is a wide umbrella of courts that are both before trial diversion, excuse me, and give judges the opportunity at the back end at sentencing to not sentence to prison. These courts work wonderfully when people participate, and it is properly staffed and funded. And I believe that it is the answer to relieving and possibly eliminating mass incarceration. Because I think given the right opportunity, given the right direction, given the right compassion, people will do right. And I think that that keeps any political person from creating a problem that none of us wants. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Belinda Edwards.
Okay, so the reality is I have presided over an accountability court. The reality is I established an accountability court in juvenile court, a juvenile drug court for young people. Juvenile court is a court of rehabilitation. So we focus on rehabilitating the children that come before the court and the families whose children have been removed from them because of the Department of Family and Children's Services. So I have experience in those areas. When you have people who are charged with crimes, felonies, I presided over felony cases. So I have an abundance of experience that I bring to the bench, similar to the cases you will see in Superior Court. Superior Court currently has a drug court, a mental health court, a veterans court. And I will say to you, when you're dealing with families in crisis, we deal with all of those issues. We provide for the mental health services to the families, we provide for drug treatment, and we provide counseling so that the family can deal with their issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Dunaway. He has to play out. He has to play out for it.
Yeah. When it plays out, that means you're done.
I didn't know that.
Stop talking now.
The rules.
We're going to get a buzzer for you next time, okay?
I like this song. Don't say KBC.
Mr. Dugway, go ahead.
Thank you. I am a fan of all of the Veterans Court, Drug Court, and the Accountability Courts. I think they are working. If you ever have an opportunity, go to a drug court graduation, and you will hear the stories of mothers being reunited with their families, father being reunited with children, grandparents being reunited with grandchildren. You will see and hear these heart-touching stories. The accountability courts, the drug courts are working. If you get an opportunity, go to one. But what I've been doing for my entire career is I've been going to our schools. When I did general prosecution, home break-in, burglary, drug cases, and you would ask a person, how far have you gone in school? What we would hear, dropped out in 9th grade, dropped out in the 10th grade. There's a correlation between dropping out of high school and coming to the court system. So I made a decision a long time ago. I was going to the high schools, I was going to the elementary schools, and I was speaking to our children to prevent them from coming to Superior Court in the first place. Accountability courts get them once they're there. My goal is to reach out into my community and get them before they even come to court. Thank you.
Andrew Margolis.
Thank you. Oftentimes, by the time somebody gets to court, there are massive problems. Now, I agree. There are problems. There is a mass incarceration problem, and I'm the only candidate in my race who has actually stood up alongside folks that have been charged with crimes as an advocate to try to advocate for them, to try to persuade a judge to dispose of the case in some other way than sending this young man to prison. I think we need to reach them before they're committing crimes. But once they're in the court system and are participating in these accountability courts, there needs to be. My observation has been that the people who are most successful in these programs and the people who do the best are the people that have support outside of the court system. I've represented too many defendants in criminal cases who do not have that support. They have no families to step up for them. They have nothing to hang on to. So it's very difficult in those cases to give a judge a reason to do something else. I think until those underlying issues are addressed, we're going to have difficulty resolving the situation.
Thank you. Thomas Cox.
I think accountability courts are fine. Certainly anything that you can do to enhance the efficiency of the court system is great. The systemic issues that lead to mass incarceration are broader than the ability of a judge to handle. And if any of us were honest, they would say that. And I'm telling you, I don't think the judges are the total answer to mass incarceration. It's a problem. It has historic roots and present-day consequences. One other thing that would help with mass incarceration is to diversify the viewpoints from the bench. We need people who are not just former prosecutors who are elevated to the bench. They come to that position often with a one-sided or jaded viewpoint, which may, to a degree, be a contributing factor to the mass incarceration. You want folks with well-rounded experience on the bench. Thank you.
Gay Banks.
So I'm a strong proponent of accountability courts. As a prosecutor for the last 12 plus years, I know that we cannot prosecute our way out of the criminal justice system. And so accountability courts are absolutely imperative to ensure that our kids are redirected in a way that they don't get caught up in the system. The success of our criminal justice system is not in how many people you lock up. It's really in how many people that you don't see return back to the system. And accountability courts do just that. I do agree that judges don't have all the answers. And judges can't answer by themselves alone the issue with respect to mass incarceration. But at the end of the day, judges can start. The power is not in the robe. The power is taking the robe off and engaging our community and getting involved with programs and partnering with key stakeholders to ensure that our kids aren't getting caught up in the criminal justice system in the first place. I am the only candidate who has been serving in that capacity within the community, mentoring young men and young women to ensure that they don't get caught up in the criminal justice system.
Thank you.